Hello, good morning. I thought I'd sorted that out. Very wishy-washy, don't we? Bear with. I can't be doing with that. Let's just turn that down a bit. There we go. That should be a bit better. Look a bit. Anyway, good morning. It is craft a long time. So, we're going to make 2 cards today, but we're going to be concentrating more on the technique rather than the cards, if that makes sense. So it's all about technique today. It's all about masking, because to me, masking is one of the most important tools we have as crafters, as stampers, because it lets us create scenes, it lets us do all sorts, doesn't it? And it's just a really, really useful tool. So I've got a friend with me today. You gonna say hello?
Hello.
You gonna wave? There you go, she's waving. She didn't want to come on camera, but she sat crafting along with me. So she's promised she's going to ask any questions she comes up with as we go along, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. So, should we get going? I think so. There we go. Right. Let's see if this wants to work today. There we go. Now it's really dark. We'll sort that out. There we go. Right, that's a bit better, isn't it? So, what we are going to be doing today is making 2 cards, or 2 different techniques. We're going to use our masking to mask inside of our flower, yep, using our little mini stamps, and then we're going to use masking to mask off the flower and stamp behind it. Yeah, I've just realised I haven't pulled out one of my stamps. I'll do that in a second. So you can see, basically it's the same thing, it's just masking off different areas. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with what I think is the trickier one of the 2. So we're going to start with this one. Yep. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Right. So I'm going to grab my piece of card. And I'm going to take my stamp. And let me just turn that light back up because it is really, really dark. You're not going to see me yellows.
Which one?
There we go, that's a bit better, isn't it? You want your big one. There we go. So I'm using this really big flower head. It was our Christmas Day set from our advent calendar. I'm using it because you can see it's got these lovely big, let me show you on here, these lovely big areas that we can put other detail in. So in here I've got music, I've got alphabets, I've got flowers. Yep. And then I've actually used my happiness stamp in that one as well. Morning, Tracy. So that's what you want. If you're going to do this, you want a design with a really big open area that you can add more detail to. There we go. So we just need to get stamping, don't we? So first up, we need to stamp what we want to mask off. Yeah. So I have got my big flower. I'm going to put that down on there. I've just realised how dirty that poly mount is, so I'm going to move my piece of card. I'm just going to stamp it up in my black. Now you want a permanent black for this, so any of your VersaFines, your archivals, your stays on, any of those really good permanent inks, because there's no good, or your mementos as well if you dry it, stamping something that's then going to get washed away when we start adding any moisture to it. So you want something that's going to be permanent. So we want one of those lovely permanent inks. I'm going to pop that down on there. And then I'm going to stamp this so I can pop my sentiment on the other side as well. So I'm moving it, I'm just kicking it over to the left a bit. I'm just going to pop that down there. Just like that, and just give it a good press. And then we're going to take that off. Right, and I'm going to move my whole piece of card to one side. Yep. We'll dry it in a minute. And then I'm going to get my post-it notes. Now, if you're using bright colours like these, be careful you're not going to get them too wet, because the colour will leach out of them a little bit. There is something called Mask It, which is brilliant. Let me grab mine. Which is basically a massive sheet of, well, Mask It. So it's like masking tape. And you just stamp on it. It doesn't dry too quick, the ink, so you have to be a little bit careful. And then you cut it out. And this is a really good one that you can use over and over again. But cheap and cheerful, post-it notes work just as well. Paler ones are better if you know you're going to be adding lots and lots of colour. Yep. So first thing I want to do is, can you see I've got different stamps in each area? So I'm going to stamp my flower head, and then I'm just going to take out one little area. So when I'm stamping this, I want to make sure the biggest area has got my sticky on my post-it note, yeah? So in this case, I'm going to stamp this bit here. I'm going to stamp it so this bit's on my sticky. It might mean you need to mask off other areas. So I know this bit's my sticky here. I'm going to grab my ink again because I've left it to dry a little bit. Only worrying about my flower at the moment. And I'm just going to stamp my flower. Can you see I'm getting the maximum on my sticky? Yeah? Just like that. So I'm going to move that one to one side. I know I'm going to need a couple of these. So I'm going to stamp it again. I'll pop that one down there. Remind me to clean off my desk in a moment. I'm going to stamp this one again. I'm going to pop that there. Now actually, I told you completely the wrong thing there. This is if you want to mask the background. Duh. With this one, so I'm going to save them for later. Give me 2 seconds. I knew I'd go wrong somewhere. I just realised what we're doing. Let me take that off my desk. Because I've got a live audience. Are you going to say hello again?
Hello.
There you go. Right, with this one. Oh, that's not sticky. That one is though. I can stamp it right in the middle because we're masking off an inside area. I get that used to masking off to stamp behind. Yep. So I'm going to pop this. Ignore me. I'm having one of them mornings. I'm going to plonk this right in the middle. I'm still going to do 2 though. We've done our stamping for our next one in a minute. So I've got that one. I'm going to grab this one. And we've got one post-it note left. I have to borrow one of the little ladies in a minute.
They're not very sticky.
Oh, yours not very sticky. But if you do want, if you've got post-it notes, you do want them to be sticky. Right. So back to where we were. We've got our 2 post-it notes. Yep. And I'm just going to blast with my heat gun. We'll have to share the heat gun, dear. Morning, Linda. It is a lovely, lovely day out there today, isn't it? Already got one load of washing out, the other's in the washer. So I'm just blasting this with my heat gun, just to make sure when we start adding other bits, it doesn't go everywhere. Yep. So I'm blasting that one. I'm just going to lightly blast my post-it notes so I don't get inky pinkies.
Do I need the stem?
You don't need the stem, you're alright for now. Do you want me to blast your stamped one? I don't think my cable will quite reach, dear. No. There you go, that's enough on a post-it note. There you go. It's only so I don't get inky pinkies, because you know what I'm like, you'll need to do your white piece of card as well. I didn't think about her needing a heat gun. No, that should do. There we go. Morning, Mum. It is beautiful out there, isn't it? Might actually get in the garden this afternoon. So, first one I want to do, I keep bringing them both. Right, so we're going to mask off this leaf first, and I put my flowers in this one. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to take one of my post-its we've just done, and I'm going to basically create a window for us to stamp through. So I'm just going to pierce it. Oh, we didn't get you a pair of scissors either, did we? No. So I'm going to pierce it through there and just cut. Now I'm cutting down the middle. Once I get into it, I cut in down the middle of my line. And the reason I want to cut into the middle of my line is that when we stamp onto it in a minute, I want my stamped images that I'm stamping into it to go right up to my line. Yep. Let me just cut that out. we've got a little like window now, haven't we? There we go. Let me take that one out. You can have my scissors. Morning, Noala. So you can see there, we have now got, this is the area when we stamp in a minute where we're going to get that extra detail. So I'm going to line it up neatly. And just make sure it goes right over the top. Oh, close enough. There we go. And I know I am a bit of a messy monkey when it comes to stamping, so I'm just going to use one of my other post-it notes just to mask off this bit here, because there's nothing worse than going to all this trouble of masking and then you're stamping over the edge. Yep. How are you doing? It's tricky, isn't it, cutting out a middle?
Yeah.
Tricky. Cutting around the outside, really, well, it's not really easy, but easier. But cutting out little bits like that, oof, it's a right faff. So I am going to grab my little flowers, because that's what I used last time. But any of these little texture stamps work on here. I'm going to position it so it's easy for me to stamp. Yep. And then we're going to stamp it. Now you could do it in black, you could do it in grey, you could do it in whatever colour you are going to colour your flower in. Yep. I'm going to do mine in grey, which I realised before I missed off the instructions, so off the kit list. I remembered most of it. I'm just going to grab my grey ink and ink it up and stamp it like you normally would. Yeah, you doing alright over there, missus?
Yeah.
There we go. I forgot to give her ink. I've got the evil eye. Or you could use green, because you're doing a lot of green, aren't you?
I use one.
Grey? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and stamp this flower in here. Just like that. A flower and a flower. Morning, Noel. I think I said morning. If I didn't, apologies. There we go. So we've got our lovely little flower in there. And I'm going to keep putting my lids back on my inks only because this is where inky pinkies happen. I'm going to whip that off. So I'm going to take my extra bit off. You okay, my dear? Mm-hmm. Oh, you need a stamping block. I've not given her anything to use, you know. Hang on. You can have a comfy one to stamp with. There you go. She gave me that look of, and what am I supposed to stamp it with? So, when I take this back, you can see I've now got my flowers inside my little leaf, petal even. Yeah. So I'm going to do exactly the same now, and I'm going to do this side. So I'm going to reuse this post-it note because I've already got that window cut out. I'm going to cut this window out. Can I have my scissors, please? It's going to be a game of pass the parcel today. You know, Ed's the one at a party, and yet we're the one playing pass the parcel. So I don't think you play pass the parcel at parties these days, do you? So again, I'm just going to come in and cut this one. And I'm going to go down the centre of that black line. And the reason we do that, I'll try and explain. When we're stamping, I'll do it with my stamp blocks because it's probably easier to do it that way. Imagine these were our pieces of paper, yeah? When we come to stamp, if you've put a mask over the top, no matter how thin that mask is, when you stamp, you've got a ridge, haven't you? Yeah? So when you come to press your stamp, it's not going to get nice and close in here. Yeah, because if you look at this, if this is one piece of paper, this was your other, you come to put your stamp on it, your stamp's going, well, I can get here, but I can't get nice and close here. Yeah, so if you cut down the middle of your line, it gives your stamp better. Actually, if I do it like that, you can see it with my finger. So when I come with my stamp, yeah, my stamp gets closer into that line. If you've cut on the outside of the line, you're going to get like a halo effect, which is nice sometimes. However, when you're stamping inside stuff, you want it to be nice and as close as possible. So when you're stamping, make sure you press where you've got that overlap of your papers, but also give yourself a chance to cut either inside the black line when you've stamped it. Where's mine gone? So either inside that black line, like I've done there, you can hardly see my black line on that one. Yeah? And it just gives you a better chance of getting those, your stamps that you're stamping on the inside, butted right up to the outside. So I'm just going to quickly cut this one out because I'm chatting and not crafting. It's a bit rude, that, isn't it? I'm just going in my lines. See, there's always method in my madness, I promise. Or there's always a reason behind why we do stuff. And sometimes it's understanding why you do stuff is the important bit. So you want the scissors? So you can see I've now got that other window for me to stamp through. So I'm going to pop it back on here. I'm just going to get it lined up. And it does help if you've got a bit of the stem, because you can see, now I know I've put that down beautifully. Oh no, I haven't. Woo! That was shockingly put down. There we go, that's better, isn't it? Just like that. And then again, I'm going to use my little extra post-it notes, because that's just, you know, calling out to be stamped into, isn't it? So if I plop that over the top, yeah, we know we're onto a good. And then I'm going to use my other post-it note I've already stamped to go there. So this time I'm going to use another of my little texture stamps. I've got music this time. There it is. I couldn't find it. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. She's gone very quiet. Are you thinking over there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, serious business. It's nice to have company. I'm just inking it up in grey again, and I'm just going to pop it in here. Now I'm going to, I think I'm just going to stamp it. What I'm looking for actually is the interesting bits on my stamp. So I've got a lot of music notes here, not so many up here. So I want to pop them in. Just like that. And I might even come back if I ink it up again. And I'm just going to stamp my, what's the, I'll ask you because you know, what's that one called? Is it a clef?
No, that's a clef.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I was pointing to.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the clef again. See? I do remember some things from music. So when I come now, how are you doing? I'm going to take, see, she's caught up with me. I must be going super slow today. So when I take mine off now, you can see we've got our two little leaves. Petal, I keep saying leaves. Petals. Our two little petals. Coloured. So I can't use this one again, unfortunately, because, well, if I take that out, we've been stamping in the whole thing, won't I? So we're going to take the other one that we did, and we're going to cut out, oh, she's been very kind, let me use the scissors first. We're going to cut out that middle one. That's what we're going to do this time. I'm just going to go in again, remembering to go down the middle or the outside of those lines. Yep. I'll show you little ladies in a minute when she's finished doing this bit. Oh, do you want a big reveal at the end?
After this bit.
Oh, after this bit you're allowed to see what she's been up to. Because she's used slightly different texture stamps to mine. Because she went and chose them herself. There we go. Just taking my time. Doing my cutting out. I hope it's making sense. If it isn't, shout out. Does it make sense, Rosie Pawsey?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really simple. Once you understand the why behind it, why we do things. There we go. So I've got my little window again. And I'm just going to mask this one off. And I find this really relaxing because you could imagine, oh, I can't show you it. Imagine doing it on something like the big version of this one. Yeah. And I stamped it yesterday, which is why it came into my head. Imagine the big version of that one and masking off your leaves. Yeah? Be cool, won't it? Like my card doesn't want to stand up again now. So I'm just going to mask this bit off. There you go. Make sure it's nicely stuck down. And then I'm going to grab, I used my alphabet last time. There he is. I'm just going to grab my little alphabet. And do that one. So again, you notice I'm always popping my stamps where it's easiest for me to stamp. Yeah, on my stamping block. So yes, I've got a huge stamping block and I pop it right at the end because by popping it up there, I've got all this area I can hold and I get full control of it. I'm just going to ink that up again with my grey. Again, you could be using the colours you're going to colour your flower in with. There you go, it's a lovely juicy grey, that one. And then we're just going to start inking. Stamping even. And I've not put extra post-it notes around it because it's right in the centre of this post-it note. If I think I'm going to go over the edge when I come to stamp, I'd be putting those extra post-it notes in just in case. Sorry, I should be saying sticky notes, shouldn't I?
Why not post-it notes?
Because post-it notes is a brand. They're actually sticky notes, but everyone knows them as post-it notes, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See, if I stamp that there, that might just pop over my edge, and we don't want that, do we? So I'm going to pop that there, and I'm going to come back down. Did you choose a really easy one to do your middle with?
Yeah, I chose that so I could do.
Yeah, she chose a really good one for a middle, whereas I chose one that I pieced in. That's super cool. Let me just take my stamp off. There we go. So at the moment, that one's mine. I'm going to show you little ladies. And there you go, you've got little ladies. So she's got stars, triangles and music in hers. There we go. You're using VersaFine Smoky Grey, not the VersaFine Claire, which is why our greys are slightly different. I like yours, it's a lot more subtle than mine. Right, so we've done our flower. We're going to do our leaves next. So I'm going to take a post-it note again. And I'm going to try and be clever, though that doesn't always work. I'm going to move that to one side because me and ink and everything. I'm going to grab my big flower stamp again. And I am just going to stamp. Look at that, I can get both of them on there. Yep. It don't matter what ink I stamp this with, to be honest. So I'm just going to ink up that middle section. And the reason I'm inking up more is because I want the extra bits. So if I do all the stem, it'll make sense in a minute. If I do all my stem, so it goes like edge to edge basically, when it comes to lining it up, it's going to be a whole lot easier. There we go, so we've got that. I nearly put that on top of my card. Let's just wipe off my desk as well. Oh, my desk was yellow. So now with this one, because I've stamped like both ends of my post-it note, I can get this lined up pretty good. So it's going to go about there. Yeah. So I'm going to cut out one of my little. You can. Oh, thank you. So I'm going to cut out one of my leaves. I'm going to start with the bottom one first. You could cut them both out at the same time. I'm going to do it one at a time only because I know I am a messy monkey. And we're just going to go round. Oops. Sorry, I've got sticky on my scissors. And we are just going to go inside that. And this is a great way as well if you want to bring your backgrounds into your design. So for example, you may have some texture stamps or some words or something that you want, so it might be a birthday card for example, yeah, and you're going to put your birthday greeting on there, but you want to just add a bit more birthdayness to your design. There we go. And so you can just add it in here, add your little words in. So I'm going to line this up again. I had it lined up really well before, didn't I? It's easier to do it that way. I'm just going to turn that ever so slightly. There you go, ish. There. Yep. And I'm just going to use, I've got one last post-it note that isn't very sticky. There we go. And then I use my happiness. So can you see in here? You can cut them both out if you want to. Yeah. I've just got a few little words. Now that was actually from the happiness word art because I know we all love that one. However,
I don't have any words.
I know, neither do I at the moment, so you're doing alright there, kid. I will find them for us both. They were on here. There they are. I knew they weren't too far away. Yep, so I've just got our little happiness words. I want my grey ink, I don't want my black. I'm gonna move that back over there. And we're just going to do exactly the same again. So this time I'm not going to ink up my whole stamp, yeah? I'm looking for bits that are interesting. So if I look at my stamp, yeah, that friends, smile, faith and hope, that fits really nicely in there. But in holding it over, I've noticed my post-it note needs to go to that side. Yep, so that's going to go there like that. And if I had have cut that one out, I'd need to be masking off my other leaf now. So I'm just going to ink up this bottom bit. Let me check I've got my grey. I have got my grey. I'm just going to ink up that little area in the bottom. And it's going to go there. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. I'm going to take this off. Boop, boop. And then I'm going to cut out my other little petal. Just be careful when you're doing yours, Rose. Can I just borrow yours? Rosie's been super clever and she's cut both of hers out at the same time. So when she does one, this bottom one, I'd mask off that top area. Okay. Yep. Just because when you come to stamp that stamp, it is probably going to touch that one. There you go. Thank you. I'm cutting out. I'm just going to pop that back in there. So it's just finding the interesting bits in your words. You could use texture stamps if you wanted in these leaves as well. Yeah, you're all very quiet. If you have any questions, do please ask. I know a lot of you were going to be catching up on this later, so if you do have any questions on it, after we finish the live, I will post the pictures. I'll actually, you know what, I'll post what Rosie's made. Is that all right with you?
Yep.
Yep. And then comment on there if you've got any questions, and we will do our best to answer them. So again, I'm just going to line this up. It is so much easier if I do it the other way around. Do it that way. Bring it down. Now I haven't cut that out very well at all. I can see bits I've missed, but that's okay. That's just me. I'm going to come and pop that there because I can see and probably that side too. Kitchen roll's your friend here as well.
I've not got any.
Any what?
Kitchen roll. Did you need the stamp?
Yeah.
I've got some for kitchen roll.
No. I wasn't going to nick your kitchen roll.
Got no kitchen roll.
There you go, you've got kitchen roll. You've got the big roll. So again, I am choosing nice little areas. I think I'm going to do live, idea and risk.
I did that one.
Did you? Yeah, it fits quite well, doesn't it, in the leaves? You start looking at your stamps slightly different, don't you, for how they're going to fit. I'll move that one back over. And just pop it down in there. Right. So, oh, sorry, I thought you'd done both of them.
No.
I nicked the stamp off her. Sorry. There you go, big reveal time. This is a bit that always makes me smile because you look at it and go, whoa, yep, it's worked. We've got all that there. Now, before I do anything else, because we're going to add our colour next, whether I'm adding my inks, oxides, painting with my brush show, however you are going to colour this, that's up to you. You want to make sure it's dry, because the worst thing ever is if you hit this now with moisture, it's just going to move, because Versafine Clair, as I always say, takes a while to dry. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a helping hand. No, what did you do? Oh no! Okay, it's fixable. You just have to do something in the background. Yep. So, let me just finish drying this one off. There you go. So you might have heard that, oh no. Can you see what she's done? Hold it. Yeah, she didn't make sure her post-it note, sticky note was in the right place. So, how do we fix it? Dead easy. She's just going to have a bit of a background as well on this one. So, what I would do with this one is what we're going to do on our next one. So I'd then mask off these areas and add some colour and add that stamp again in the background. Yeah? So you're doing like a twofer. You're doing 2 in the 1. It's always fixable. Yeah? So looking at that, you go, oh no, I've messed it up big time. You haven't. Literally, when we do our next one, we're going to cut out to mask off this area and decorate the background. So that's all that Rosie would do with this one. Is just mask off these areas,
yep,
and then add your colour and then stamp over at the top. Yeah? Okie dokie.
Do I do that now?
It's up to you if you want to do it now.
No, I'll wait.
You're going to wait and do it in a minute. Right, so it's coming up to colouring time. I think, what should I colour in with, Rose? What would you like to colour in with? I think my brush shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not painted with brush shows in a while. So I'm going to grab, I did, that'd be gamboge and that'll be leaf green. So I'm going to change my colours up this time, I think. I'm still going to use my leaf green. Oh. I think I'm going to go pink. I'm going to change it right up today and go for pink. What colour do you want me, dear? There we go, it's on my desk as well. I've got leaf green. So all we're going to do now is just finish this card off by just colouring in our leaves.
What's sea green? What other colour?
Sea green's more of a blue.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. What other colour you want to use? Sometimes it's the colours that take the time, isn't it? You're going to want a paintbrush as well, aren't you? I might just want to... Oh, not that one. Where's my other nice one? There. There we go. Oh, and you want a bit of water, won't you? So I'm just going to add a bit. I'm going to start off with it quite watery. Ooh, not that watery though. So however you want to colour yours in. No right or wrong way when it comes to colouring in, is there? I'm just adding a little bit onto mine. And I love brush show because you can cheat, you just go darker with your shading, or with your, where you want the dark bits, you pick it up. Just like that. Ooh, too much water, which is why it went for a merry dance then. There we go. That's my green bits done. But you could use your pencils, you could use your oxides, anything. to colour it in. Okay. Can I just have a spurt of water, please? Thank you, my dear. Oh, that's pretty. I'm going to do exactly the same now with my leaves. So I know Alzarian Crimson can be very, very dark. So I'm just making sure. When I added it, I'd really watered it down. Oh, outside my lines. That's not a good start, is it? You can always tell when we're busy because we stop talking, don't we? What colour flower did you go for?
Do you use sea green for the flower?
Oh, you're using sea green for the flower. Very nice.
And we use olive green for the leaves.
Oh. I should like to experiment with colour this one. So I'm going to start picking up more of my darker colour. And this is why it was so important to make sure it was dry before we started doing this, because I am adding quite a bit of water. Oh, apologies, grumbly tumbly. Just pulling it away. Just turn it around, but try not to blob it into my paint. Wouldn't be the first time, would it? And just start to pick up darker bits and just follow it up those lines. Now you might have noticed I have not put any detail into, I've not done any masking, sorry, into that centre bit. I've really saturated mine with colour. And that's because I'm going to use my gel pen and just do a bit of doodling. There we go. I need to dry mine because it is very, very wet. I've got a bit overexcited with my ink. Can I have the water, please? There we go. Roses is looking really nice. Mine, I put way too much water on, but that's okay. Just gonna get it dry. That sea green looks really cool.
Oh.
Oh, there you go. Do you want me to dry yours down here? You can wipe your desktop down.
Yeah.
There you go. The rosy posies. Got that sea green she's got going on there. Oh, there you go. You can see it now. I haven't put the heat gun on top of it. Told you I'd really wet mine. You might have noticed mine's bled a little bit as well, because I really did put too much water on. So I am going to just show you a little trick as well. Yours is dry. So, do one for you, one for me. Black pen for you, black pen for me. So I'm going to grab my gel pen. And I am just going to colour in. Can you see on this one, I've just done a little bit of doodling. Yeah, so I've coloured in my little stamens.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've just done a little bit of doodling in that one as well. So I'm just going to colour them in. There we go. And then on this one, right, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to, can you see on mine? Come on, Mr. Cameron, can you see? I over wet my card, which meant it just bled a little bit. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gel pen. There, it's come back. I didn't know whether that was going to come back or not then. And I'm just going to very gently just tease out this line, so it's not as noticeable. And that's why I love working with gel pens and VersaFine Clair, because the colours match so well. I'm just going to just tease this line out ever so slightly. Did I pick it back up now? Who said my line was a bit wrong? Not me. And then, just because now I've got a bit of a fat bit there, I'm just going to do exactly the same on this side. And then no one will know that I am rubbish at keeping in the line. Because no one's going to tell them, are they? No. And then I'm just going to do some doodling in this bottom bit. So we're going to have a few wiggly woggly lines. But you can do whatever you want in here. I have a sticky bit on my desk because it keeps going. I'm going to go across too. I don't know why I need music, sound effects, but yeah. Do you do sound effects, Rosie? No. Not when you're colouring and things like that? No. I do. Though to be fair, normally when I'm crafting I've got music playing. Someone sat singing along. She's probably why it's been raining so quite so much. Oh, I do like that. Do you want to show everybody?
Yeah.
So you went for a very, very simple design. I went for a bit of a, like, just throw it all on and hope for the best kind of design. There you go. You can just pop it under the camera so they can see it. Yeah, just lift it up. Yeah, that looks really cool, doesn't it? She's done a cracking job there.
Apart from that bit.
Right, we'll sort that bit out in a minute. You won't be the only one. I've done that loads of times. I've got to admit it. You know, it's so easy to do. You get so carried away thinking, right, I've just got this bit to do, and the next thing you know, you've not had your mat in the right place. And boom, it's, you know, you think you've ruined it, but you haven't, because we will fix that, and you're going to fix it yourself. Noella says she loves the sea green. I do. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful colour, that sea green.
It's my favourite one.
I've got to admit, when she said she was using sea green, I think you all heard me go, really? Really? You want to use sea green? But actually, she's made a really good call. So, give me a boom. Boom. There we go. Right. And then the last thing we're going to do on mine is I'm just going to add the saying that comes with this flower, which is a soul full of sunshine, which actually, with the sun out there today, I think it's still out, isn't it? Ish. I think it's perfect. Granny says definitely a rosy colour. It is indeed. I'm just going to use that one. Would help if I stuck my stamp down. There we go. I've now got ink all over my fingers. This is going so well. Well, it was going so well. And then I decided to, you know, get inky pinkies everywhere. Let's move that off. Dink. Just like that. So, there you go. Our first one. And all I would do with that is, if I can find my mat, let me get that black ink off my finger. There it is. Thought it was around somewhere. Now Rosie hasn't cut. Rosie's going to make hers into proper cards, whereas I just mat mine up for 40s and things like that. So there you go. Really, really, I think effective card. Do you think it's effective?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Do you want to put them next to each other? So that was our masking inside our design. So think of those really big designs you've got where you either got to do a whole lot of colouring, yeah, or you normally use pattern paper, that type of things. So I'm thinking of some of our big flowers, well, mainly flowers, isn't it? Where you've got those big areas that you might just want to add a little bit more detail to. Great way of doing it. So this is number 1. We're going to try number 2 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by doing number 2, it'll help you fix number 1.
I've got it on this.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to leave them there. We're going to grab our second piece of card. Let me just check that is the right piece. That looks cool. It looks like you've been tie-dyeing. That's what we're going to do tomorrow, isn't it? We're going to try some tie-dyeing. Bear's got coronation celebrations on Friday at school, and he needed to wear red, white and blue. So we've decided, we bought a tie-dye kit in lockdown, the first lockdown, so going back years, well, a couple of years now, isn't it? And we've decided we're going to do some tie-dyeing for his red, white and blue.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to stamp our flower onto our piece of card. I'm making sure I ink it up, because after all this is going to be the focal part of our design. And the reason I like doing this type of masking, where we mask off the front image and decorate behind, is because of depth. Sometimes when you're sending your cards, you don't want the depth there, but you want the detail there. So masking is a great way to get depth to your card, but not necessarily detail to your card, not necessarily depth. There we go. And then before, because I was super organised and I told you all wrong, I already stamped my flower. Now this time you want your flower stamped so it is as close to that sticky as possible. Yeah, and the reason for that is when we come to stick it down, this is the bit that's going to be hiding away. Yeah, so it needs to be on the sticky. Wonderful. You only need one though, so I know I've done 2. Can I borrow one of your post-it notes? Because what you also need is, because I want to mask off my flower. Oh, she's throwing things at me now. Rude. But I also want to mask off these 2 leaves. So when I come to do my leaves, there's my flower stamps. I'm going to move that to one side because I will ink that up in a minute, dry that off in a minute. I'm going to stamp one flower. Again, find out where your sticky is and make sure you have as much sticky on your leaf as possible. There's one. I'm going to twist it round and I'm going to do 2. Yep. So basically these leaves have just fitted inside that sticky. Yep. What do you need? Oh, you want your post-it notes back? I only needed one. So I'm just going to blast these with my heat gun because I don't want inky pinkies. So saying that, I have got inky pinkies. I'm just going to give it a quick blast. You could, if you wanted to, do your little dots at the top, but oof, that's some fiddly cutting out, isn't it? Just give that a quick blast as well. So card we're making this time is this one, where we're masking off our flower and then putting all the detail in background. Yep. This is the one I would use more often. We do this one quite a lot in our lives as well. Do you want to blast? Yep. Whoa. She's going to took me out with the heat gun then. Right, I think I'm done with that. So this time, I'll give it a minute. Are you done?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just nearly
cut the cable.
Nearly cut the cable, yeah. On the heat gun. Not a good idea. We'd have been going fizz bang and pop, wouldn't we? So this time I'm going to basically cut out this flower. Yeah. Again, think about where you want your how close you want your colour to get. So what I'm actually going to do this time is I'm going to cut on the very edge of my black line. I'm going to be coming along and cutting on this outside edge because I do want a bit of a gap. I don't want my colour to come right up to my flower. I want a little tiny bit of a gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along and I am just going to go on the outside of that black edge, of that stamped edge even. Go around the sides and just take your time. You could go up the middle if you wanted it to be nice and close, she says, and then she's just taking a load off. Oops. Close enough. Not my grumbly sumbly today. I'm going around the edge, which would mean it's about 11:30, 11:45ish. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. She's like clockwork, that kid. She'll start gnawing at her legs in a minute, going, "I'm hungry." If you've ever been to a show and seen us, you'll notice bang on dot she has to go get a dinner. Right, so I'm just going around the edge, don't you? Mm-hmm. I know, I'm cutting super slow today. There we go. I'm going to cut off my flower. Do you want to do your flower?
Do you need to do the leaves as well?
And then we need to do our leaves as well. So I'm just going to get that nicely lined up. There we go. Just make sure all your stick is down. Now this is where it's important. If you are using brightly coloured post-it notes like mine, just make sure you're not adding too much water because they will leak some colour. And then you will also need couldn't decide if I was going to sneeze then or cough. So a bit of both. Very nice. Thank you. Then I'm just going to do the same, exactly the same again with my leaves. So I'm going to go to the outer edge this time. My tiddler, I'll pop it on properly in a second. And then let's get our big one, the bigger leaf. You sat jigging on the stool. It's a stool, not a bouncy castle, kid. Just heard this funny noise and it's her sat there bopping up and down on my stool. Yep. Right, so I'm just going to add these into place. Make sure again they are stuck as well as they can be. Just be careful that you've dried them properly because I haven't, and I've just got inky pinkies.
Same.
I thought I'd done well then. I haven't, obviously. Right, so all good. I've got my flower stamped, I've got it masked off where I don't want any of my colour to go in a minute. And then I'm just going to add some colour. So for this one, I have got fossilised amber and a bit of spicy marmalade. And I can get rid of all these bits that we don't need anymore. I'd be able to see a bit more on my desk. Rosie has chosen peeled paint and scattered straw. Yep. It's whatever your colour scheme is that you want to go with. So I'm going to start off with my fossilised amber.
Which one would I start off with?
Your paler one. So your scattered straw. Yep. And I just need a little piece of acetate. Now, I didn't give you half the stuff you needed, did I, Rose? No. That one will do. So you're literally looking for a bit of your carrier sheet off your stamps that you can use. But what I'm doing is I'm just making sure when I give it to you, Rosie, nobody can see any of the bits they shouldn't. Right, so I've got my little piece of acetate. I've just got a little one because I like working in little areas. Rosie, I gave a much bigger one too. It's up to you. Just a little bit of ink, a little bit of a spritz. There you go. I was thinking there must be more spritzers in here. There is. There's one right there looking at me. There we go. We've got one each now. We only decided, was it this morning, that you were going to come and craft with me? Yeah.
Well, you said last night you want to come and craft, and I said maybe.
Oh, there you go. I never even thought to ask her. That's a bit rude, isn't it? So again, I am being very conscious of my water. I'm just wiping off any excess I've got. And then I'm just going to very gently start adding some to it. So just splodge, splodge, splodge. Inks, oxides, anything that reacts with water is great for this. You could do your brush out, but just be careful if you are using post-it notes, brightly coloured ones, because it will move around a bit. It might leak colour. You know what I mean. I'll get there. I'm just doing a little bit behind my flower. There we go. I'm going to take that off. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Just like that. And I'm going to give it a quick blast with my heat gun. How's yours looking, my dear? Actually looks really cool. She's got a green post-it note and she's got yellow in background. It's quite cool. Just giving it a real good blast with my heat gun. Worst case, I'm going to have a pink flower and green bits. So the paler post-it note, or even the lined post-it note, is really good for this. There you go. Do you want to use? Mine's dry now. If you decide to join me next time, I'll definitely get you your own heat gun. Right, so I now want to add some of my words. So have you got the happiness one? There. There, I can see it. I'm just going to dab it in case it's got any colours on it. And I'm going to stick with that same colour. So I'm going to use my fossilised amber again. And I'm just going to randomly stamp it in the background. Yep, the first, second, third generations.
Give us time to try and catch up.
Oh, sorry. I was just going for. I'm in my zone. I got going then, didn't I? I did. Actually, let's show them yours that you've been doing. Because it is really pretty what she's got, and she's only got a post-it notes on there at the moment. Right. There we go. I'll give you the stamp, but I'll take away your card so you're not allowed to stamp. So you can see, I really love it with these. She's got a green post-it note on the top.
Oh, it was lined up good.
I'm in trouble.
That colour doesn't stick down.
Never touch a girl's post-it note. No. 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 Here, you can have it back now. Do you want to stamp your happiness? Yeah. So I've kept that happiness stamp behind my design. Yeah. So we're creating a lovely bank of colour and lots of interest. So if I show you this one, I've done exactly the same on that one. And because we're using pale colours in the background, our sentiment jumps because it's black. Yeah. So can you see now how you're going to fix your first one?
Yep.
There we go. See, she answered her own question, didn't you? Yeah. Is yours being a bit yellow, or is it okay?
It's okay.
It's okay. I will admit she is working in pretty much the dark as well. She's got a light above her, but because it's piled full of paper, it's obscured a bit. There we go. She's added a bit. You might want to pop a bit just there if I was being really picky. Just saying. You seem like you've got like a whole like naked area. Yeah? Or you could use your texture stamps in the background, anything. Yeah? Yeah? Happy? Okay, so we have got our flower stamps. We've got an area masked off that we don't want any colour going to. We've added some colour. So we've added our lovely, well in my case yellow. I love fossilised amber. And then over the top of that we have just stamped some of our happiness. Now if I peel mine back, that looks pretty nice, doesn't it? But you know me, I like to add a texture stamp, so I'm going to pop that back on there. And I am using one from this month's monthly make, and I keep going back to it, and I do apologise. It is this one. I just love this new stamp. So I'm going to grab on the back of there. Yes, we're sharing again. Oh, she doesn't like sharing. She did the whole stamp exactly the same colour as what you've done your background in. So I've done fossilised amber. I'm keeping it to fossilised amber. I'm not changing it up at this stage. Rosie used her scattered straw. She's keeping it. Yeah, if you want to use that one, you can use that stamp. She's just found a stamp she wants to use. Doesn't want to use this one because it needs cleaning mine. And then in a different colour, you're going to add your texture stamp. So my texture stamp seems to have been dyed blue. So
I use my green one to do this.
Yep, use your green one this time to do your textures in background. So I'm using my spiced marmalade. And I'm just going to add a few little bits. Again, I'm looking at, I'll take my stamp off, you'll be able to see what I am doing better, won't you? Take that one off. Yeah, so you can see I'm looking for the interesting bits on my stamp and where it's going to pop out behind my image. So I'm going to do one around my flower head. I'm going to turn it round again. I'm not second generation this because I want that lovely colour to pop. I'm going to do another one here. So I'm almost like working my way down the stalk now. Stalk, stem, either works, doesn't it? I'm just going to do one more. Just coming down. There. There you go. So I've used my yellow as my background and my stamp in the yellow, and then I've just used a texture stamp, whichever texture stamp you fancy. Rosie's used some circles from our mini flower border on hers. I'm going to show everybody. There we go. So you can see she's got some green circles in the background on that one. Yeah, so it's completely up to you what you do. I think if I'm being really picky, because mine's got dots on it, obviously I need to gel pen it. The white gel pen and just, you know, because when it's looking at me like that, and I know it's a background and I know it doesn't really matter, what it does to me. There we go, you can see straight away it starts to just. Got orange ink all over my desk. I don't even know where it's come from. Right, I'm not going to faff with this anymore. So are we all ready for the big reveal? Because we've done our background now. We want to go on to our flower now. Are we ready? Should we take our post-it notes off? I'm going to whip this one off. Dun, dun, dun. Just like that. Take that one off too. Just like that. And there you go.
I can't get my leaf off.
Oh, we've got a stuck leaf.
At least it's green. So.
Have you got it, or do you need a pair of tweezers? Cool, let's have a look. So there you go. You've got roses and you've got mine. They look really cool, don't they? Yeah. You pleased?
Yep.
Yep, she's nodding. She's smiling. Yep. So all we need to do now is colour in our flower. Now you could leave your flower white or you could colour it in. It is completely up to you. Decision is yours. I'm going to colour mine in just because I quite like the look of this one. But I'm going to go with an opposite colour. So you can see on here I've got orange, so I've gone for a blue. I think I'm going to do the same this time. I'm going to go for, I don't know what colour I'm going to go for. Let's have a quick look. I might do purple. I might do a bit of wilted violet.
What colour should I do?
Whatever colour you want to do, my dear. I'm going to use peel paint for my leaves because I do like using peel paint. So I've got another one here. And then I'm going to use, I found Twisted Citrus you were looking for before. I don't know if to go for a dark blue or a nice, I don't want to do pink because pink is going to clash too much with my orange. So I think I might go to my favourites and go to peacock feathers. That's a really dark green, which will look cool for your leaves, I think. Yeah. Though who says leaves have to be green? They could be bright orange, they could be whatever colour you want them to be. There you go. I'm going for a bit of peacock feathers because you know I do love peacock feathers. And I'm just going to paint these up now. What about orange?
No, I'll use blue.
Oh, she's going to use blue. That's unusual.
That'll be alright.
That'll be absolutely fine. Be quite dark and deep. So all I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of ink to my desk and paint these up. I didn't need that much. And then just again remember, try and stay away when you're using your oxide paint. Just try and stay away from those black lines, because otherwise you end up making them go a little bit chalky. And when you've gone to all the effort of masking off, you don't want. There we go. I'm just going to turn it around. Do the other one. And I'm just going to do. It all goes quiet, doesn't it? So which way do you find it easier to mask? Where you mask inside or outside?
I like doing it on the inside.
Yeah, I think the inside is different. But we don't do it that often, to be fair. We should do really, because it's a lovely little technique. Okay, I'm going to keep painting this up. There we go. So I've done my green. Need some kitchen roll. But you could use your pens, you could do pencil crayons, whatever your preferred way of colouring is, go for it. I made more of a mess then.
What do I do with the little circle bit?
I do that green because I think that's part of the flower, but you can do whatever colour you want, or you could colour it in like you did last time, you know, with your little black lines. Yeah. I'm going to do my other one, so I'm using peacock feathers So again, just starting off with a lot of water, little ink, and then moving my colour. So I've already got our next craft along in the diary for the 20th of May. And I'm hoping it's going to be a project next time. So we've done technique today, which I hope you've enjoyed. I hope it's given you a bit of the why we do things the way we do. And on the 26th, I'm hoping, as long as it all comes together, we will be doing a project. On the 20th, sorry, not the 26th. I don't know if I've got the 26th in my head from. Is that the date today? Oh no, it's the 29th today. Whoa! April's definitely whizzed by, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely whizzing by is April. It'll be the summer school holidays before we know it, won't it?
Yep.
There we go. I'm just taking my time colouring this one in. Right, so I'm going to stop. I'm just faffing now, aren't I? And then all I'm going to do to finish mine off, she says, stop faffing, girl, stop. I am faffing. So I'm just going to colour in my little stamens black again. But you could use anything. Little bit of sparkle maybe. Bit of a gem. The world's your lobster. I'm just going to pop a little bit of white. I don't think I did that on the other one. No. A little white on there too. There we go. How's yours coming on? Oh, I like that colour. I like that blue. It's like a lovely little cornflower. Yeah. So all we need to do now is pop our sentiment on there. Yeah. Yep. Do you want to put a soul full of sunshine on it, or did you want something else? Okay. Oh, thanks. You'll have to go rooting. You see, I always like to go for "You are awesome." You're so awesome. She's having a root around now. She threw the stamp over to me, now she's having a root. Thinking of you. Best wishes. You're awesome. I do like "You're so awesome." There's some new words to go with that in the house if you wanted that. No? No? There's a few in there if you wanted to have a root through. She's being very picky now. There is, let me see if I move. This one's got lovely words with it. Oh no, not there. What it was? What about wild and free? No? No. She's obviously got something in mind that she wants to do. Anyway, I am going to get my sentiment stamped on here. Just check out my black. There we go. I'm going to pop that down. She's not looking impressed. Oh, she's found one. She's found one. Is it going to fit though? She's gone for quite a large one. It will do if you pop it down towards the bottom. Yeah, if you pop it across the bottom, up a bit. Yeah. I'll show you in a second. There we go. And then I'm going to pop that on there like so.
I've lost my stamping block.
Oh. Bit hard to stamp without a stamping block, isn't it, dear? There we go. Got inky pinkies again. So that's that one. And where's my other one gone? It's on here. That one is our first one. Rosie's just putting a sentiment on it. I'll share it once she's done it. No pressure. That countdown clock. Dun 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 dun. There we go. Oh, she's finished. There we go. So there is Rosie's. I love that deep blue. Which one was it?
Blueprint sketch.
Blueprint sketch she's used for that one. It looks very denim-y. Like a pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, doesn't it? So, I hope that has been useful. Have you had fun?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you going to fix that one now? She's giving me the eye, as if to say, no, I'm not. No? You don't want to fix that one?
Don't know.
You don't know. She doesn't know whether she's going to fix that one or not. Don't know whether you could do it now quickly, because you know how to do it. No, it means you have to choose some colours, won't it? Yeah. And there's Rosie's first one as well. Really cool. I do love that sea green. It's not a colour I use very often at all. Yeah. So there we go. We have done 2 cards today. We have masked and stamped inside our design, and I think that gives our gives your stamps a whole new lease of life, doesn't it? Because it just opens them up for so much. So that was this one, and then we've masked off our image and stamped behind. Great for if you're sending cards and things like that, because it does keep that postage down. There you go. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Tracy. Like I say, our next craft along will be the 20th of May. I know. There we go. I'll move back to that one. Don't know what I'm doing with the lights in here. So yeah, 20th of May, and it will be a project. So I do hope you've enjoyed that today. I hope it's given you a little bit of an insight into why we do things like we do with masking. So the importance of whether you cut inside the line, on the line, or outside the line. Yeah, because it gives you different ideas, doesn't it? Yeah. Different effects. That's the word I was looking for. I couldn't get my effects right. She's fiddling and faffing over there now. Have you had fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. She said yeah. Yeah. So that is it from me. Thank you for joining me. I'd love to see what you've been creating. I will be popping ours on to Facebook and Insta later. So if you are watching this later and you have any questions, do please pop them below and on that post even, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So thank you. I do hope you've had fun, and we're back on Monday for our usual monthly Make Monday at 7 o'clock. So I do hope you can join me then. You gonna say bye?
Bye.
Bye from me too. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.